Hey guys, I had an idea for a new series of videos, and I would call this the Lessons of the Past Cycle. And so I'm going to talk about things that I learned throughout the period of 2020 to 2024. And the first one I wanted to go through was not your keys, not your coins. And so I've got some very high profile bankruptcies that occurred over the last 4 years. We've got FTX, we've got Celsius, we've got BlockFi, we've got many others that went bankrupt over the last cycle. And so these bankruptcies resulted in funds getting frozen. So if you had crypto on these platforms, you're locked out, you know. And so, I had some personal stories to share with respect to this. So I think it was a weekend earlier in May 2022, and there was a crypto token platform named Luna. And so Luna had a stable coin. And what wound up happening was that coin wound up getting depegged to the dollar. And so over the weekend, there was a lot of stuff going on, and you just started seeing, the price of the Luna token starting to degrade. But then by Monday, things were in total free fall. And so we're talking like, I believe the price was probably somewhere in the $80 range. And with over the course of a day, it went down to basically zero. And so this created a lot of collateral damage in crypto. And so there was a lot of these firms that were kind of tied up in one way or another with Luna. And so there was loans that were going bad, and there was agreements that were going bad. And so things started really cascading throughout the coming weeks and months. And so personally, this affected me. And I was, my first reaction was to kind of scale back a little bit with these platforms. And so I did start withdrawing from the platforms. I didn't take everything off, but I took a lot, a good percentage of what I had off. And some of them I didn't have really anything left. But Celsius was one where I still had a substantial amount, more than I really care to care to remember, that was left on Celsius. And so what happened with Celsius was about a month later, June 12th ish or something. It was a Sunday night. They locked everyone out of their account. They said they paused withdrawals. And I had a lot of confidence in Celsius. I had even, started like going down the path of being an ambassador for the platform and things like that. I didn't ever really get too far along the road with that. I'm very glad, because the whole idea of being an ambassador is you're bringing other people into the platform. And so, people that were people that were ambassadors for a fair amount of time were bringing a lot of their friends and relatives in, and gosh, that's just a terrible situation to be in. And so not only do you have your own funds frozen, you have others, and like I said, I was listening to these AMAs. I was like starting to get involved with the ambassador community, and had a lot of confidence. I thought I was really in with a good deal, but it just was totally snow jobbed. And so, real lesson there is really be careful who you're trusting. It's even if you're doing due diligence and listening to people all along the way, there's still always a possibility that, they're lying or they're misleading you. And you just need to be prepared. If you don't actually know them personally or something like that, even if you did know them personally, you still could get hoodwinked. So be real careful. Um, and, these other firms followed suit. I think Voyager wound up going bankrupt about a month later. BlockFi, FTX was a very high profile one. For me, thankfully, I wasn't really involved with FTX. And so, what my real point here is that there's going to be more. This will come back. So if you guys are getting wooed by someone offering you yield on your crypto, be careful, and really don't. I would really encourage people not to get involved at all. But if you did want to get involved, make sure that it's with a tolerable amount, that if something did happen, that you wouldn't be wiped out if you were locked out. as in the case with Celsius, they're going through the bankruptcy. They're supposed to be distributing things, and by the time this is all said and done, maybe we'll get, I don't know, 30 or 40 cents on it. 30 or 40% of what we had on there we'll get back. Um, so it's not a good situation, but it's that's the tuition for learning about this stuff. So the way out is to take custody of your own assets, and so that's the beauty of crypto, is that this is kind of the first asset that we can really realistically take custody of it, and lock it down, and take ownership of it. And so that's something that everyone really needs to learn and exploit. So learn how to self custody. And and this doesn't just go for these crypto platforms. I have a feeling that we just had these ETFs that got launched, and I have a strong feeling that there's going to be some issues with them as well. And it's because of the way that they operate. They operate on on a T+3 settlement. And so let's say that you send money to an ETF on a Friday, and they've got this T+2, T+3. So that means like 2 or 3 days after, two or three business days after you make a purchase, that's when that trade is going to get settled. And so things can move very drastically with crypto and Bitcoin over a course of 3, 4, 5 days. And so what I'm thinking is, well, if they take in, $1 million or something like that, and the price of Bitcoin goes up substantially. Let's say it goes up 10, 20% over the course of those days. They could get caught net short. They're gonna go and trying to buy, and it's gonna be 2, 3 days later, and that price could be substantially different at that time. So, and I can imagine things getting swept under the rug, and somebody saying, "Oh, well, I'll just wait for it to go back down," or something like that. And then it just doesn't happen. And so then they wind up in this situation where it's just digging a deeper and a deeper hole. And so I have a feeling that we're going to see over the next, 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to see even one or more of these ETFs get in a situation where they are in a lot of financial difficulty, and they may have the people who were their counterparties, where people that are buying these ETFs, they could be on the other side of that. And so it's kind of similar to being locked out of your funds on these platforms. You've got an investment or an asset that you don't actually have a claim to, if this counterparty goes bust. So again, just another reason to learn how to self custody.